in the spot and I came with the fellas. Ray Mac got hit in the back, his melon.
Hi, this is the lovely Roz back with another video. Today we're watching Wild Dating Horror Story Time, so without further ado, let's get to it.
I just had the most horrifying dating experience here in New York, and I didn't even go on a date with the guy. So the backstory that's important here is I saw this guy in the airport. I'm a flight attendant, and we were sitting at the same gate, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest guy I've ever seen. I'm praying he's on my flight. I even told the crew members that I was working with, I'm like, I saw the most beautiful man in the airport. I am praying he's on our flight. Sure enough, who comes on our flight? The most beautiful man I've ever seen. So on my work phone, I see that he's a non-rev, and I'm like, I start talking to him. I'm like, how do you have flight benefits? Do you work for us, or do you know someone who does? And he's like, oh, I used to be a gate agent. I'm like, how do you still have flight benefits if you used to be a gate agent? And he said they were about to run out. Apparently there was something with COVID. They gave these packages away. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. My crew members are hyping me up. They're like, give the guy your phone number. You've been talking. I found out he's a doctor here in New York. And I was able to find him on Instagram, his workplace. And I see that he's a pain and spine specialist on Instagram. So towards the end of the flight, I have another flight attendant give him my phone number. And it had been a week. I hadn't heard from him. A few days ago, I get a text message saying, hey, let's say Matt. This is Matt from your flight from the airport you're based at to this airport. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, hey, how was your trip? And he's like, I had to hurry back to New York so I could see you. I screenshotted the message. I sent it to my mom, and I'm like, a womanizer. He's immediately a womanizer. I have a red flag. And I want to say the name Matt that he gave me is not the name that was on my work phone. On my work phone, it said his name was, let's say, Brian. So I met Brian on my flight, but Matt is texting me. I use a specific website to look up when I'm talking to a guy, their phone number, and it can only be used here in the United States. Like if they're from another country, it's not going to work. But you can find out everything about them. And after dating a convicted felon a year ago, I use this every single time. So I put his phone number into the website, and it pulls up a different name. So we have Brian, Matt, and let's say now Jake. The name Jake pops up with this number that's texting me, and it says Jake is 26 years old. The man who's texting me is 30. And the man who's texting me, telling me about his job, is telling me that he is a face and like oral surgeon here in New York. Brian, who I met on my flight, he is a pain and spine specialist here in New York. Now, so how can you be a surgeon at 30 years old? Like, you go through residency and you go through a fellowship too. I know this because I dated a surgeon here in New York 2 years ago. So I decided to do a little bit more research on Brian from my flight, the original name. And as I'm Googling him, 4 different doctor's offices pop up with 4 different types of specialties that he supposedly is. So the first one, like I said, pain and spine. The second one was a hair transplant. One was a vein specialist. And then the guy texting me is telling me he's a face and oral specialist. I'm getting so many red flags at this point. But I keep talking to him, trying to get more information that I can out of him. And I also tell him how I'm in school to be a pilot. But I also told him that when I was on the plane when we were having a conversation. And he acts so surprised. He's like, that's so cool, going on and on about it. And I'm like, why is he acting like we didn't already have this conversation on the plane? So I told my mom as we're walking yesterday, she's visiting, I'm like, I have a really bad feeling about this guy. There's some things that aren't adding up, like the different names, the different ages on the website, and what he's telling me, and how there's no way this doctor who I met on the flight could be a surgeon or be specialized in 4 different areas at 30 years old. So last night, he's like, I don't have any pictures of you. And I'm like, crazy, I don't have any pictures of you either. Which I'm open on social media. He could find pictures of me so easily if he wanted to. He sends me a picture of himself and I immediately stop in my tracks. The picture that he sent is not the man who I was talking to on my flight. The man on my flight, Brian, gave my number to somebody else. And I'm trying to play it off, play it cool, and I'm like, is your beard longer than when it was on the plane? He's like, oh yeah, my chin hair grows a lot faster. And I was like, I think I need a picture of you in your work clothes, just because like oh, you're in a suit, or you're like your surgeon clothes, so hot, whatever. But I'm like, I think I need a picture of you in your work clothes. He doesn't message me back for like 45 minutes. And he's like, I'll have to see if I have any. Because I'm also like, maybe I don't recognize him because he's not in his clothes. I don't know. I'm just playing possibilities here. He doesn't send me any other pictures. I start going through the website of relatives of the guy's name. What did I say? Jake. That popped up, the third name Jake. I'm going through the relatives, looking everybody up on Facebook, on Instagram. I can't find anything. Just a bunch of people from Syria keep pulling up. And then finally, I'm like Googling the names. I've learned he has 5 brothers and 1 sister, and that his brothers are D1 athletes at some colleges here in the US. I find his brothers, and then I find his brothers on Instagram, and I look through their family pictures. The guy on the plane who I gave my phone number to, who I was talking to, is not in any of the family pictures. He's not in any of the pictures, doesn't have the same last name at all of any of these men. One of the brothers is a face and oral surgeon, like what the guy was telling me. The other brother, one of the other 5 brothers, looks exactly like the picture that he was sending me. And I screenshotted the profile and I sent it to him, and I was like, is this you? And I continue saying, like, I have all the receipts. I'm like, I don't recognize you. This is not you. I gave my phone number to Brian on the plane. You are not Brian. And I'm like, Brian is also a pain and spine specialist. So I'm like, this is crazy. This is not adding up. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, that's so weird of you to be looking into it that hard. If you would have looked into it that hard, you would have known that Brian is my brother and I'm the guy on the plane. Wait. So my audio cut out, so I have to redo this part. He tried telling me that Brian is his brother and also that he was the guy on the plane. I'm like, the guy on the plane is the guy in all the pictures and all the videos who works in pain and spine management and stuff. Like, this is not adding up. And he goes, this is weird. Don't contact me ever again. And I'm like, no, you're just angry that I caught you guys in this lie. And like, you're just angry that I'm smart enough to figure out that you are not the guy who I met on the plane. So I look up Brian on like doctors' websites and everything, and I try to find his license. I look up his full name. I also look up the guy who started messaging me, and what did I call him? Mike? I don't remember. There's 3 different names. I look up every single name. I can't find a single one that is a registered doctor in New York. But the guy, Brian, who I met on the plane, is a practicing doctor in New York City, but he has no medical license on file. I think he is bamboozling these people, just like the movie Catch Me If You Can. After all of this, like, there were other like things too, I'm sure I'm forgetting, especially since like my video cut out, but I am pretty darn sure these men are sex traffickers, and this guy was planning a date with me in New York City when I come back from my trip. I'm at the airport right now, and I 100% feel like something horrible would have happened to me if I would have met up with this guy, and it wouldn't have been the guy from the airplane showing up, or maybe it would have, maybe they would have like kidnapped me at the same time, but the guy sending me pictures, the guy texting me, none of the ages matched, none of the names matched. It was not the person who I met. He was claiming they were family. They were not family. There wasn't a single picture of them together. So yeah, I'm terrified, I'm horrified, but also the guy is absolutely pissed that I figured out that it wasn't him.
My Tinder date went out for a vape and never returned. I'm 99% sure he was on drugs. Here is the worst date I've ever had in my entire life. Now, for a bit of context, his name is Luke. He's from Middlesbrough. He works on a construction site in Belvedere, currently apparently living in Erith. Matched with him on Tinder, spoke to him for 10 days, and here is the date that was awful. So first and foremost, spoke to him every day, voice noted every day, text every day. Conversation was good, didn't see any red flags, seemed to be a family man, seemed to be quite nice, definite night going to the pub, didn't see any other red flags other than that. On the day of the date, he never texted me good morning, which I thought was a bit odd because he used to text me every day good morning, but then he said he'd been really busy, etc, etc. When I said to him, you know, is it still happening? He said yes. That morning of the date, he called me Katie. He said, good morning, Katie. My name is Georgia. So I was a bit confused. Asked him who Katie is. He said that it was a woman in his office that he worked with on the construction site. I knew it was a lie. Let it slip. We hadn't met. He had no loyalty to me. Whatever. Comes the date. We had agreed 5-6 days in advance that we was getting there for 8 o'clock. I got in a cab at 7:30. Told him I'd be there at 8 o'clock. He said he would be there at 8 o'clock. I'm in the cab. He says to me, I'm running 15 minutes late. Didn't say sorry, just said I'm going to be there at 8:15. I'm like, fine. So I'm sat there. I've got a drink by myself, waiting for him. 8:15 comes, texts me, sorry, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. 8:25 comes, I'm having a nightmare, can't get an Uber. 8:30 comes, I'm ringing him, he's not answering. Rings me back, says he's on his way, said he had a nightmare getting a cab, whatever. I'm really at this point, pit in my stomach thinking something's wrong, I do not want to be on this date. But the waiter's come over to me and he's like, are you going to go? Are you being stood up? And I'm like, I don't know, we'll just see. I'm giving him 5 minutes and I'm leaving at 1:45. In walks Luke as the waiter's talking to me. Luke comes straight over, says that he had a nightmare with his Ubers. He was sweating profusely. He was very chaotic, very erratic, ordered a Sambuca straight away along with a lager. Sat down next to me, grabbed my legs, grabbed my cheeks, went to kiss me on the lips. I was like, what the fuck? Very handsy, very, very uncomfortable. Straight away, did not like him. Knew that I would never see him again, but didn't want to judge him too much and just kind of put it down to there might be nerves. So as the date's going on, he's talking about himself over and over and over and over and over again, sweating, touching his nose. I asked him, are you on packet? He said no. I definitely 100% think he was. I just don't think you should come on a date on packet. It's fucking weird, right? So anyway, I said to him, you do know you need to ask me some questions. You've literally spoke about yourself the whole time. He then was like, I don't need to ask you questions. I've already made up my mind. You're really good looking. You're ginger. You're got good skin. You've got big hips. I really like you. The whole time, I would just be sat there trying to have a normal conversation. He'd be like, hey, you're fucking mint, you. Oh, yeah, you're sexy, you. Like, just literally gross behaviour from a nearly 40-year-old man. He's got children, by the way, and this is a warning to any girl who's speaking to a Luke from Middlesbrough who's working on a construction site in Belvedere, who lives in Erith. Stay away from this fucking geezer. He is weird as hell. So dates going on and on. I think he's getting the vibe that I'm not interested. I definitely wasn't. I'd actually looked at my phone to get an Uber when he was in the toilet. He came out the toilet, came back, and he was on his phone 24/7. I said to him, you seem a bit distracted. Do you want to go home? He said no. He said, I'm going out for a vape. I'll be back in a second. Grabbed my face and kissed me on the cheek. Went outside and I was like, he's fucking weird. So anyway, I'm sat there. A woman comes over to me. She says, I'm really sorry, darling. I've just seen him run to a cab but like duck down through the window so that you couldn't see, because I was sat facing the window outside. I said, it's fine, to be honest, I've been looking at getting a cab myself, like he's really not a fucking bit of me. So anyway, she said the guy I'm drinking with right now actually works on a site with Luke on the construction site. Come and sit with us while you wait for your cab and we'll tell you everything. So I've gone over to the table. Her name is Claire. I'm going to put a photo here, by the way. I'll just pause a little bit so that you can see her. Claire is a gem. Claire is a random woman in the pub who done the right thing. Girls to the core. She said to me, he has mugged you off. I said, it's fine. I wasn't interested. The guy she was with said he's a prick. Everyone on site thinks he's a prick. He's a cocky northerner who's down here, probably got a life back home, cheated on his missus, got kids, etc. I know he's got kids. He's got a 15-year-old and a 7-year-old, I think, girl and a boy. And they're basically just looking, these northerners down here are just basically looking to bang every type of woman they can. He's obviously realised with you he's getting nowhere and he's done the off. So yeah, that was the worst date of my entire life. Absolutely disgusting. He is a piece of shit. Everything about him was obnoxious, narcissistic, self-centered, vile man. Should never leave a woman sitting there. It's dangerous as well. She's on her own in a space where everyone's drinking. And yeah, I just want to put it out there. If any girls are speaking to a guy called Luke from Middlesbrough who's working on a site in Belvedere and lives in Erith, run for your fucking life, because he is not the one. Trust me.
Y'all, so this is a quick little story time because I'm still baffled. I had to sleep on it a little bit before I come on here and tell y'all about it, but let's get into it. So I went on this date, right? Went on a date. Normally, dating within my age group, a lot of men don't do dates. So y'all ought to know that this guy was a little bit older. He wasn't too much older than me. He's like maybe a little bit under 10 years older than me, around about 7, 8, maybe 9 years older than me. Either way it go, he was a nice, handsome guy. He was sweet, and he asked me out on a date. So I said yes. So we ended up going on a date. So y'all, as we are on this date, we get to talking about dogs. I don't know how the conversation led to us talking about animals, but he ended up showing me a picture of his dog, right? I personally don't have a dog, but I live with one. My sister has a dog. And so I was talking about my dog nephew, the book. So yeah, he was telling me about his dog. So keep in mind, y'all, I'm drinking wine at the table. As I'm drinking wine, y'all, I'm getting tipsy. Every sip I take, I'm getting more and more tipsy. Tell me, y'all, we still talking about dogs at the table. As I'm getting tipsy, my intrusive thoughts won, y'all. Oh my God. Don't judge me. I don't want to hear it. Don't judge me. So y'all, my intrusive thought was to bark at the table like a goddamn dog. And that's what I did. And I didn't do just no any bark. I didn't do like no little. I did a woo at the table. So y'all, I'm sitting at the table flabbergasted. Meanwhile, my date is like, the fuck? Y'all, tell me why he just went, hell no, hell no, oh hell no, hell no. I'm over here confused because I'm like, I know I just had an outburst or whatever, but why he just going hell no, and not saying nothing? Like, why you just keep on just saying hell no? Like, I apologize. I'm over here trying to explain myself. I apologize for my outburst, but why are you saying hell no, sir? Y'all, tell me why. He said, I'm glad you had the outburst. I know a nickel's voice when I hear it. Y'all, I immediately went, no, wait. No. I'm still trying to explain to him. I'm like, no, sir, I'm not a dude, sir. Wait. Y'all, when I say that man was not trying to hear it at all, he was not trying to hear nothing I was trying to say. He was not trying to hear me out whatsoever. So, y'all, I'm over here still trying to explain myself. I done offered to show him my ID. I done offered to show him a baby picture of me. He still was not like, nah. He was like, no. So, moral of the story, ladies, if you go on a date, make sure you are in your feminine era, okay? Because any indication of masculinity, they're going to swear up and down you're a transgender.
True story, no cap. Guy that I've known since 7th grade reaches out, asks for my number because he's going to be coming back to Chicago and he wanted to take me out. We're on FaceTime a couple days ago. And he's telling me how he's been watching what I'm doing, you know, and bigging me up, all of that good stuff. But this is why I tell my daughter, when you start conversations like this, just listen. You don't do a lot of talking, just listen. Somewhere in the conversation, it shifted to him saying, but you know, you seem like you might be a handful. I ask why. Like I have to ask everybody who seems to think that I'm the fucking problem. I said, well, why is that? What have I said or done that makes you think I could be a handful? Ultimately, what he got around to was that I'm not dependent on a man for his money or his resources or anything like that. And I said, that doesn't mean I don't deserve to be with someone who can provide. Right now, I can't sit back and wait on a man to be that provider. I have 2 children and my kids have to depend on me solely. So either I'm going to get it or we out here bad. Like, not that I have to explain that to you, but you do realize that like there is a such thing as being self-sufficient. I'm not too independent. I'm self-sufficient. It's a difference. And he said with a straight fucking face, he said, you know, it's easier if you got like maybe somebody younger or someone who doesn't have as much. And I said, well, why is that? Why is that easier? He said, because you could take somebody like that to Ocean Prime and she would be impressed. So ultimately, y'all use y'all money to attract these women or your notoriety or whatever it is. That is what y'all use to attract these women. Y'all want them to need you. Why? I see that as a form of control. Like, because you can dangle that money in front of her like a carrot and she's just hopping behind you. But you know, you can't do that with me. Like, What about people who just want you? You keep talking about the need. That's a form of control to me. The need. But what about people who just want you? So I told him, I said, well, you know what? I don't think there's any need for us to go out. Like, we catching up right now. But if that is what you are looking for, I'm not it. And I'm okay with that. So I'm going to pass on going out when you get here. He was like, are you serious? I'm dead ass. What I got from that conversation: don't be smart. Don't be ambitious. Don't be a go-getter. They're not going to see you as someone that can compliment them as a man. They're going to see you as competition. And for that very reason, I'm out.
One thing about my phone, you will get blocked on it. I don't play that. Long story short, I meet this guy on Friday. He was handsome, but he was kind of saying things that I really wasn't too much feeling. It was giving very much so, like, I like to call men sassy, but it was giving like very sassy. And I'm like super playful. So like, okay, we just like shooting jokes back and forth. But some things he would say, I'm like, I don't really know like how much I'm feeling that, right? Mind you, I met the man on Friday. He had been like FaceTiming me a lot. Okay, and like, I'm not the FaceTime girl. If you want to talk to me, send me a text, send me a voice note, Morse code, back call, I don't care, write me a letter. But all of that FaceTime stuff, no, like I don't like FaceTime. I've never been a FaceTime girl, right? So he steadily FaceTiming me, and I'm not answering because you don't pay this phone bill, okay? I don't have to answer you. So today, we're texting, and then he calls me on FaceTime. Do you have work to do? Like, why are you just like always so able to talk on the phone? So I don't answer. He texts me after I didn't answer, and he's like, you must be ugly without makeup because you never answer FaceTime. Immediate block. Immediate block, immediate block, immediate block, because, whoa, I didn't even tell you that. He's 40. You're 40 years old talking like that? Don't worry about it, love. Block, block, block. Because what? Why is that your reasoning? How do you know I'm not already on the phone? Okay? How do you know I have clothes on? Okay? How do you know I'm not in a meeting? Like, why is that what you resorted to? As a grown man? No. I texted him, I said, a grown man talking like that is a super huge turnoff, immediate ick. I told him this too. I said, I literally have thousands of videos on the internet with me without makeup on. Shut up. So he edits it to the first message, the one that said, you must be ugly without makeup. He changed that to I, and then the one that said, cause you never answer, to miss you. You are crazy, get off of my phone. Blocked on Instagram, block the number, play with somebody else.
This man ain't have no money and took me to Denver on a birthday trip. He had no money. Back in 2020, when everybody was using dating apps to date because we were all inside, I happened to meet this gentleman on Facebook dating. And he lived in the DFW area, but he told me in conversation that he was from Denver. We chopped it up for a couple of months or whatever, and then at some point we did end up meeting. We went to like a daiquiri shop one time because Dallas was wide open like a hoe on the 3rd by May because they didn't care nothing about no daggone distancing. So after that, I did go over to his apartment one time, and then he came over to my apartment, and we were talking about Denver. Now, my birthday comes up in September, so when we were nearing the end of the summertime, I'm like, I kind of want to go somewhere for my birthday. And I happened to look at flights to Denver, and they were like hella cheap. And I was like, do you want to go to Denver? It's like, yeah, I'd be down for that. Like, my dad still lives there. I haven't seen him in a long time. Like, I'd be down to go to Denver. I'm talking about the round trip tickets were like $87 on Frontier. So book the tickets, and then it's time to figure out where we're going to stay for the hotel, right? And leading up to this point, we ain't hurched. We ain't hurched at all. And he seems like he's getting aggravated by the fact that I have not hurched on him yet. And I was just like, but why? Like, we're grown, we're adults, we're getting to know each other. Like, what's the big deal? I don't understand. So I guess he calls himself giving me an ultimatum where he's like, I don't think this is working out. I don't think that we can move forward because I need this physical intimacy and some other blah stuff. And I was like, well, okay, like, I have to respect your opinion. I'm still not going to give you any because I don't feel like it. When I'm ready, I will. When I'm not, I'm not. So like a week or so goes by, and he realizes that the ultimatum has not worked in his favor, and he tries to circle back around, and I do end up talking to him again. And I was like, what are we going to do about this trip? Like, we have these 2 round trip tickets. Are we actually going to go to Denver and move forward, or like what? Like, I should have just said no at that point and went on to Denver by myself, but I didn't. So I had a Hyatt account, but he said he wanted to book the room. So he books the room, and we're going to head to Denver at this point. Right before we were supposed to go to Denver, I remember he called me throughout the day, and he seemed like he was upset about something, but I didn't know what, and he wanted to tell me, but he said he had to wait. So when he gets off of work, he finally calls me and he wants to tell me about what's going on. But at the time, I was dealing with my daughter, and I think he was getting a little frustrated with the fact that she kept interrupting the conversation, and he didn't want to finish what he was saying. And so he didn't tell me completely what was going on, but the gist of it was something happened with his car. They towed it at his apartment complex, and he had to figure out how to get it back, and it was going to be like an unexpected amount that he had to pay. And I was like, oh, like, is it going to be like an issue? Like, do you need to postpone the trip? And he was like, no, like, I'm not worried about that. It's just something unexpected, and I was just frustrated about it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can understand being frustrated about an unexpected expense. We get to the day of, comes to my house early, parks his car, and we Uber to the airport. I had already scheduled it on my Uber or Lyft app, so I take care of that basically. We get to the airport, board our flight, get to Denver. When we get to Denver, I like Caribou Coffee, and it's only on the West Coast, so even though it's early and I know we couldn't check in, I was just kind of bopping around the airport. And I don't know if y'all know this, but the Denver airport has like an underground tunnel, and like it's got like some lore and conspiracy theory stuff. So I was kind of looking for a way to go down there, but the tunnels were closed because of COVID. So I was like, okay, well, just try to figure out how to pass the time until it's time to check into the hotel, because it's like 10:30 in the morning. So I go and get in line at the Caribou Coffee shop in the airport, and I was like, did you want to get something? When it was time to order, he was like, yeah. So I pay for the coffee. We're sitting there. I was like, well, are you going to reach out to your family? Maybe we can do something with them up until the time it's time to check in. He can't get in touch with any of his family. I'm like, okay, not a problem. I'll just call the hotel, see if we can check in early. Call the hotel. They're like, yeah, we have a space available. If you guys want to come now, that's cool. I'm like, cool. So now it's time for us to leave the airport, and I've already Ubered us to the airport in Texas. I've already paid for our coffee. I'm just getting my phone. I'm just looking, paying attention to what's on my phone. I'm not trying to get no Uber to the hotel. Like, that's on you, player. So he gets the Uber from the airport in Denver downtown to the hotel. When we get in the Uber, I was like, he was acting weird. I was like, did you need me to split the Uber with you? He was like, no, it's okay. And I was like, don't worry about it. I give him like $20 cash, because I think the Uber is like $35 or something. So we get in the Uber, and the Uber driver is like asking us where we're from, like what we're planning to do. And I was like, I really want to go to the dispensary. He was like, oh, my friend owns a dispensary on the way to the hotel. I won't charge you. If you guys give me a good tip, I'll just pop in and we can go there before you go to the hotel. I'm like, bet. So we get to the dispensary, and I'm talking to the guy. I'm like, yeah, I want to try the edibles. I want to try this. He's telling me different kinds, do different things and different that. And when we get through with my order, with what I decided to get, he's like, so is this going to be separate? Yeah, it is. Ring me up and then ring him up. So he uses the $20 that I gave him in the car to pay for whatever he bought. I buy what I buy, and now we get to the hotel. So I don't remember how we came across this conversation, but we're in the hotel, and now I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna eat. Like, what you thinking? You want to Uber something? You want to go walk around and see if there's like a restaurant that we want to try? I've decided that I want to eat vegan the whole time, just to open up my palate to something different while I'm on vacation. I'm just gonna eat all plant-based while I'm here. So he was like, okay, so after the Uber ride, I only got like $60. Like for the weekend? Like it's Thursday afternoon and we're here until Sunday morning and you only have $60? Then it goes from he only had $60 after the Uber ride to it went into the negative. He has no money for the next 3 days. So I have to, on my birthday trip, finance the meals. I wanted to do a puff and paint. I ordered the Groupon and didn't tell him about it and went on my own. So awkward. There was one bed in the room. I was definitely not hunching now because I have to pay for our meals and our activities and our Ubers and everything for the rest of the time on my birthday weekend. You have no money. Terrible experience.
I went on a date with a man who at minimum is incredibly disturbed, at maximum has bodies hidden somewhere. This was like 3 years ago, but I was literally watching a true crime show and I thought of this story and I was like, you know what? I gotta share with the class. I had been hanging out with this guy. We had gotten like dinner and coffee a few times and he was like super quiet, but like as a bitch who doesn't shut the fuck up, like I'll take it. One night we were getting drinks and it was like pouring down rain. And so I was trying to call my Uber to leave, but they kept canceling. And he was like, oh, like I live down the street. Like you can just come hang out at my place for a little bit until you can get an Uber. We're walking into his apartment building. And as we're walking in, I start getting like a horrible feeling in my stomach. Like my intuition was intuitioning, but I wrote it off and I was like, oh, I'm probably just like nervous. Like he seems like a totally nice, fine guy. Like I'm sure this is a fine situation. Side note, it wasn't. So we walk into his apartment and the very first thing I see on the wall is a like 1800s era shotgun hanging on the wall in a case, like above his TV. Like people were wearing powdered wigs when this model dropped. So I'm like, is this what John Wilkes Booth had in the theater? Like, it's the weapon that took out Abe? Because it was a full-blown musket, y'all. And then surrounded by said musket was just a bunch of paintings of war. And like, this is no shade to anyone who likes history. Like John Green raised me, hello. Like I love a good history moment as much as the next person, but like white men that are obsessed with war and guns. I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. So he sees me looking at all the shit on his wall and he looks to me and goes, yeah, I guess you could say I'm a war guy. And I'm like, yeah, like, feel that. Love a good musket from time to time. So I'm like looking around the rest of his apartment because I'm like, the Star Spangled Banner has got to be around here somewhere. And I look at his coffee table and I notice that he has a few books on it. And I'm like, oh, I wonder like what he's reading. Like, I bet it's some kind of like history book. Like, wonder what light reading he's getting in. I look at the titles. And it's all books about serial killers. There's like a Ted Bundy one and another one was like some kind of true crime serial killer one. And I'm just looking at that like, holy shit, like this is getting fucking weird. So now I'm just trying to decide like, what the fuck do I do in this situation? So my mind is just going a million miles a minute and his phone starts ringing. He looks at his phone and he turns to me and goes, ugh, this is my bitch ass ex-girlfriend. I was hoping she wouldn't make this mistake again. She knows what's gonna happen. That moment I was like, okay, yeah, like that was my cue to get the fuck out of there. I immediately text my sister and I'm like, hey, I am in an emergency situation. I need you to call me and pretend there's an emergency and I have to leave immediately. So my sister calls me and I put on a fucking Oscar-winning performance. I'm like, hey, I am so sorry. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm having such a great time. But my sister just called me and her dog's missing and she's like looking for it in the pouring rain and she's having a panic attack and I have to go help her. I'm so sorry, like, let's do a rain check, pick this up, like, tomorrow, like, let's just reschedule. And he was like, oh, well, like, that sucks, like, are you sure you have to go now? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm positive, like, she really needs me, I'm so sorry. And at this point, his entire demeanor changes and goes from being, like, a very lighthearted, nice guy to turning, like, so serious. Like, his entire face, his demeanor, everything changed. And he looks at me and goes, well, I can't let you leave this soon now, can I? And when he said that, I was like, fuck, I'm about to end up on a fucking t-shirt. It's about to break that musket out of its case. Death by musket in 2023 is crazy. Like, how is this happening? My heart is just racing and pounding and my face just goes completely white. He sees me like freaking the fuck out because I know it's all over my face. I look like I'm gonna puke. And he goes, oh, I'm just kidding with you. I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Have you ever tried being a comedian? Like, you're really funny. Like, that was a good one. You had me there. So I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, my sister's already here. Like, I gotta go. Like, it was great meeting you. Like, we'll do a rain check for this, knowing damn well this man will never see my face ever again. Looks at me like very serious again and goes, have a great night. I hope the elevator's working so you can make it out. I'm like, Like, what the fuck does that mean? Once I get out of the apartment, I Usain Bolt for the staircase. Like, I can't even take 10 steps without getting out of breath. But that day, she was a runner. She was a track star. After he made the comment about the elevator, I'm freaking the fuck out because I'm like, did he hire someone to like wait in the elevator for me? Am I about to go toe to toe with someone in a powdered wig? Like, what is about to happen? Like, so I take off for the stairs and I'm running down the stairs. And then I'm like thinking to myself, wait, fuck, in all the horror movies, the bad guy chases the person down the staircase. Like, that always happens. So I'm like, okay, I gotta exit these stairs. So I get off on a random floor. So I'm just like waiting on this random floor, deciding, do I wait it out? Like, do I call the fucking police? Like, what do I do? Even though the apartment building is empty as fuck, this like old man comes up to me and he's like a resident that lives in the building, and he was like, oh, like, hi, how are you? Like, do you live here? And I'm like, no, like, I'm just visiting a friend. Just having like a nice, polite little conversation. And he seemed just like an old man that was like kind of lonely and wanted someone to talk to. So I was like, oh, he seems like sweet. I'll just have a little conversation with him. And he starts getting really fucking like close to me and getting creepy. And I had told him that I was waiting for my sister to come pick me up. So he's like, oh, you can come wait in my apartment if you would like. As he's saying this, he's like inching closer and closer to me. And then he like goes to grab my hand. And I was like, absolutely not. And I was like, well, I think my sister just got here. I gotta go. So like now I'm running from two crazy guys. I'm like, I'm gonna take my chances and go back to the staircase. So I just book it down the staircase. I finally get to the lobby. At this point, my sister really is here to pick me up. So she pulls up out front and I run into the car. And I'm like, go, go, go. We gotta get the fuck out of here. Ladies, if y'all see a musket hanging up in someone's apartment, run.
This was one of those moments when I went on a Hinge date, and in all honesty, I almost died. And if I didn't almost die, then I almost got SA'd. Almost. I'm not even joking. Hello, lovely people. It has been a while. It's time for a lovely story time. Yeah, I'm actually sorry for how long this took, but my phone ran out of storage, so I literally had to like delete all of my downloaded music on Spotify just so that I had space to talk to you. Let's get into it. So you're going to have to, as I said, transport back in time to Amani, who was just having the worst luck with men. I was in the trenches. I was in the ghetto. I downloaded Tinder before, but I always used to use it like a game. Like, I just like matching with people, not so much actually talking to anyone. A good friend of mine was talking about dating apps. So she was kind of selling Hinge to me as like, this like is a really good app. Anyway, let's get to the story. So I went on Hinge, created a profile, and then I matched with this guy who was a model. Tall, good looking, his pictures were great, had similar interests. We got to talking, spoke for a smidge on Hinge itself, and then got my number, and we were like, okay, let's plan a date. And I was thinking, yeah, I like that. Let's just get straight into the dates, because I'm not really here to like chat to loads of different men. Like, it's not me. I get bored very quickly of having the same conversations. He calls me. I can't explain it, but hearing someone's voice makes them seem more familiar, I guess. He says, I want to take you on this date. Let's go to an art gallery in Shoreditch, and then we'll go for some grub. And I was thinking, this sounds like a me date. He says, we're going to meet up. I'm meeting my friends before. Keep that in your mind. We'll go out after. I said, sweet, lovely. I get ready, get myself dressed to the nines. Can't lie, I look good. And I make my way there. I was like, maybe like 30 minutes later. We're meeting in Brick Lane. I'm looking. I know what his pictures look like. He's a model, he's tall. Like, he should stand out because he's meant to be a good-looking guy. I call him and say, oh, where are you? I see someone raise their hand up, wave at me. I see the hand, I see the face. But the face matches what I saw. It just looks like a tired version of the person I saw. Hair not done, face looking a little bit like tired. I can't explain it other than tired. I look at the outfit. No offense. Like, let me just say this right now. This is my preference. Disclaimer. But he was just dressed like a hipster. And I was like, oh no. And not like a kind of cool hipster either. Like a homeless hipster. Like his shoes are dirty. The outfit was just looking messy. It's meant to be a first date. So red flag number one. He's giving catfish. But you know me. I'm a kind soul at heart. I'm like, you know what? Let me just give this man the benefit of the doubt. He's a really nice guy. You know? I'm already here, I already got dressed, already, like, let's make the most of it. Could be fun still. I say, hey, he said, hi, nice to meet you, how are you, the general stuff. And his mates are still there. And I chat to his mate, I say, hey, are you good? His mate's like, oh, I'm going to go to work, so I'm going to bounce. That was expected anyway, because it's a date, you know? I speak to the guy, he says, oh, you know what? Because you're so late, the gallery is closed, so we're just going to have to do something else. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. I am late, so is what it is. Let's not worry. But it's like, oh, do you want to go jump giants instead? One of them trampoline park type things. So I was like, you know what? Sounds good. Not angry at it. Let's go. He says, okay, I'm going to call a cab. Another mate of mine, one I had not seen, had just randomly appeared. It's like, yeah, this mate of mine is DJing at this event. Again, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, not an issue. But that should have been flag number 2. Okay? Uber comes. This mate of his goes in the front. I've already gone into the car. He comes round on the right-hand side, and the mate that's supposedly meant to be going to work comes in on the left-hand side into the car. I'm thinking, what are you doing here? Like, I thought you were going to work. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to come as well. Red flag number 3. I'm now sandwiched in between him, the guy I'm meant to go on a date with, his mate, and his other mate in the front of the car. Keep in mind, the trampoline park is meant to be in Stratford. Immediately, like, little alarm bells in my head start going off. So I send a message to my sister with my live location. She ain't really responding properly. So I'm like, okay, shit. So I send a message to my mum. I'm like, you know what? Mum, here's my live location. Just hold on to that because something's telling me something's not right. We're driving now. The guy in the front is this, like, you know, there's some characters which are just obnoxiously loud. He was talking about his designer and he's talking about this rich money life and this, like, not impressed. One thing to know about me is I don't smoke weed. I don't like smoking full stop. That's a whole different story. They're saying, let's smoke some weed. I said, no, that's not for me. No, thank you. I appreciate it, but no. But you know when someone's trying to, like, pressure you to do something? I've got a strong personality. I hate when I say no and somebody asks me the same question again because I already told you no. And this mate that was meant to be going to work is putting on extra pressure. And I'm thinking, why are you asking me anything when you're not even supposed to be here, my guy? When we're on the motorway, is it a junction? Sorry, I don't drive, so I don't know the right word for this. But the junction to turn off onto, like, Stratford, we go straight past. So now my alarm bells are ringing. I say to the driver, where are we going? Because we're meant to be getting Stratford. He goes, nice, we're going Ilford. At that moment is when the guy in the front says, oh no, I just need to go home to change my clothes because I can't go out looking like this. I said, why are we going Ilford when the place is in Stratford? He's like, oh no, relax. No, my girlfriend's coming. Like, I just need to go home to change. By this point, I was like, okay, I need to somehow go home because things aren't adding up. Everyone but the guy I'm meant to be on a date with is chatting bears. And the one next to me is just, I can't explain it, but you know when someone gives you a really off, creepy vibe? He was giving me that. We get to Ilford now. I want you to know where we ended up in Ilford was in the back. Some people don't have survival skills, and I feel like I'm one of them. Rather than in that moment just stay in the cab and tell the guy, listen, I don't feel safe. I need to go home. Can I just book a cab with you? Can you just drive off and I'll book the cab with you? I came out of the cab on this empty street. And if you thought things couldn't be dumber, it gets worse. So I'm now with these 3 men that I don't know from Adam. I tried to book an Uber in that moment. There's no Ubers. I try again. Only Uber that's coming is in 20 minutes. In that moment, what would any normal person do? Leg it. I actually knew where I was as well, so I could have easily gone to the station, walked off, done whatever. I didn't do that. They start walking into the house. In my mind, and this is when my mum and dad say that I have no common sense. I can understand why. In my mind, I thought to myself, if I don't go into there with them and pretend to be calm, they might drag me in. I follow them straight behind them into the house. And I am dragging my feet behind these men, trying my best to stretch the time out. I literally, everyone walks in, they get themselves comfortable. One's on the bed, one's sitting, the one that's meant to be on a date with me is sitting across from me, and his mate is sitting to them on the right. I come in, when I tell you my back is on the door. These sort of start talking now. Again, saying, do you want to smoke some weed? Do you want to smoke? No! I already told you I don't want to smoke the weed. And they can obviously now see that I'm starting to get, like, I'm fearful at this point. I'm actually scared. And the same one that's meant to be at work, he says to me, oh, you need to relax. Now, the best nights are the type of nights where you just go with the flow and you just follow it. You just relax. But I can't explain it to you. I can't even explain to you the tone that this man was talking in, because I don't even think I'm doing it justice. But just know that every single hair on the back of my neck stood right up. You know when a conversation is awkward and the guy, again, I'm looking at the guy I'm meant to be on a date with, and he's just kind of like avoiding eye contact with me. Tell me why this boy that's meant to be changing, who keeps on saying, by the way, that his girlfriend's coming, he brings out, I'm not even lying, he brings out an old, like, video camera. And then he starts going on the bed. Listen, when I tell you God is a real one, because in the moment he brought out that camera, the Uber arrived. I always remember this. I remember how I felt in this moment. I said to the guy, I looked at him dead in the eye and said, "You're making me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to leave now." Then I had a battle with the door to open it. The door didn't open in a normal down way. You had to flick it up, but I was putting it down. So I'm going, trying to get out. And literally, the door just wouldn't open. And I guess it was just out of fear. I went up and it opened. When I say I sprinted out of that room, I sprinted out. I was gone. Then I got an Uber. I made my way home. In the car, I had so much adrenaline. I was trying to call my mum. I said, "Mum, I'm coming home. I'm coming home." By the time I got home, let me tell you, I burst out into tears. Because, realistically speaking, that could have been the end of me. Right there. If there's one thing I learned from this, yeah, never give someone you don't know the benefit of the doubt. Simple. I don't even know how to end this one because it's just a mad story. So yeah. Be safe, kids.
Okay, we reached the end of another video. All these stories were crazy. There's a couple really funny ones, but just be careful out here on these dating apps and meeting up with people that you don't know for real. So make sure you follow all the wonderful creators featured in this video. And if you like this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.